Do you want to be a drone in the rat race, or do you want to design your own lifestyle? It's your choice. One of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn says, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. All right. So our next speaker is a designer of his own life. Maurice, welcome to Recon.
It's my pleasure, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's our pleasure. Maurice Philogene, also known as the Connector, which that is an awesome nickname, by the way. He is a visionary. He's a managing partner at Quattro Capital. His background encompasses executive and military senior leadership, law enforcement, and real estate management. Maurice attributes his success to building relationships, which is one of the key themes here at Recon. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in management of information. Maurice brings a unique blend of technical expertise and interpersonal skills to his role, two things that are extremely vital if you're going to succeed in this business or in any business, really. His genuine nature, influential presence, his commitment to shared growth create a supportive environment where investors and partners can thrive. Okay. And this business is all about creating that win-win. So he has that naturally. Maurice leverages his diverse professional experience and extensive knowledge of property management to contribute to Quattro Capital's ongoing success. So Maurice, once again, pleasure to have you here. You've worn many, many hats over the years, and I'm kind of curious to hear about your journey and ultimately what attracted you to the real estate space.
Freedom attracted me to
the All right, there it is, in a word.
Real estate space. I've been involved in real estate since technically since I was 21, since I started researching personal finance, but I bought my first property when I was 25. And the reason I bought that first property was because I went on a trip when I was 15 years old in France with an exchange student family that had stayed with me the previous year. And it just changed my life at 15 because I was a knucklehead inner city kid, Haitian immigrant kid running around, and got exposed to culture, French wines, French castles, French food, French everything, man. And it just convinced me that the world was a lot bigger than Boston, than what I knew. And then if you fast forward to when I was 21, I had just graduated University of Virginia, got interested in personal finance because I didn't want to go the route that a lot of college students go, and they just kind of mess their stuff up with credit cards and all that type of stuff. And I found the phrase passive income, which to me meant I could generate income without physically having to be somewhere, which meant I could create time, which meant I could go have more of those experiences I did when I was 15. That's the only reason I went after real estate, because I found out that real estate, you could create passive income. Bought my first place in 2002. I went on this journey from 2002 to 2014 of 50 single family homes. I had issues in 2008, right? The downturn, but I survived it. And at the end of 2014, I found myself with 18 paid off homes, generating 160 grand or 13 grand of passive income a month. That's you buy groceries with passive income, with cash flow. You pay for insurance bills with cash flow. You pay for your kids' sneakers with cash flow. I'm all for net worth, but net worth is sitting on a piece of paper. It's not doing something for day-to-day life. Real estate created that for me, and that's how it all started, because I wanted to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, and I got that through real estate.
Incredible. And you're right. You can't buy groceries with equity, right? So not directly anyway.
Right.
So, look, I like that you mentioned exposure. That's one thing that I share with people a lot. That's one thing that you would think would be a little bit apparent, but it's not as apparent or not as clear to some people. Exposure is a very, very important part of seeing something more, right? And you saw something more. You had some experiences when you were younger, and you said, "I want more of that." And then you saw that there was a vehicle with which to achieve that goal. But that exposure is huge, right? I mean, because when you see that early on, you can now make that connection. And I just think that's a vital part of growth is what did you see? Did you see something at the right time that really triggered or lit a spark to say, okay, I want to work toward that,
I felt something at the right time. It wasn't even what I saw, it was what I was in control. I was experiencing life and planet as intended. It proved that life to me quickly started to be about experiences and relationships, period. So when I talk about my journey, real estate does play a role, but it's not the only thing. Matter of fact, it's it's just an input. 25 years management consulting executive for Accenture, 22 years in the military as a federal agent, and retired as lieutenant colonel, 15 years as a street cop for Montgomery County Police in Maryland, opened restaurants, owned clubs, failed at coffee shops. I developed real estate in the Mediterranean. Now, like all of this is from a life perspective. I really cherish relationships. I really cherish experiences and the relationships that we get from them. Real estate, and any entrepreneurial endeavor for that matter, is just a way to connect with amazing humans like yourself, build something together, have an experience together. And then in our business, from syndication perspective, it's like I went on my own financial freedom journey through the single family stuff, but if I do syndication, I can help my 700 investors reach their own version of financial freedom faster. So it's purposeful. So I try to call that out, the relationships, experiences, and actually helping people, because real estate is it's not the thing. It's what it can do, right? So I've always had that perspective about it.
Yeah, and to add to that too, it's you're making a positive impact on your customers, your tenants, right? I mean, you're making a positive impact on the community.
Exactly.
So it just, it's something that it really is kind of this fulfilling thing. And you mentioned the word freedom several times there, and it's something that like I said, we talk about that a lot in the business, and it's almost sometimes though. Lifestyle design to me is taking it even to the next level, because a lot of us think of, we have to kind of use real estate or something as the medium with which to reach, freedom. But going into it saying, I'm going to design my life so that is the outcome. I feel like that's taking a bit of a more proactive approach to it. And it's really putting it at the front of your mind instead of saying, I'm going to focus on this and hopefully I'll get something else. Right. So what does lifestyle design really mean?
Lifestyle design is everything, man. It means that you are not accepting of the status quo. It means you are not accepting of 20 to 30 years of formal educations, their definition of success applying to you. We were all given a set of rules, man.
Yeah.
We were all given a set of rules when we came through formal education, right? And here's how it works in my mind. When we were in kindergarten and first grade, second grade, that time frame, we were very creative. We were throwing paint on the walls. We were eating glue. We were dreaming about being an astronaut, a basketball player, all those things. Yep. Then we get into middle school and junior high, and compliance starts to kick in. Sit forward, Johnny, take this home, have your mother sign this, be quiet, etc. Then you get into high school and everything really starts to shift in a way that I don't think is very healthy, to be honest. I'm an advocate for formal education, but not in this way, meaning we just start competing for the sake of competing. So who's going to be the valedictorian? Who's going to be the MVP? Who's going to be the prom king, the prom queen? Who's going to get to the AP classes? Who's going to get to the Ivy League schools? Because if you go to a state school, then you're not that good. We were always told to compete with each other. It translates into the work world, where all of a sudden, or through college into the work world, where all of a sudden, who's going to be the executive VP, who's going to be the partner, and people blindly execute their life to get these titles, which they really never even wanted in the first place, period. Right? We are following other people's version of success, where if you proactively design your life, and I did around time freedom, financial freedom, geographic freedom, purpose, why I became a police officer, and building meaningful relationships, if you create goals in those buckets, and you achieve those goals, you create this framework for your life that you are existing the way that you want to exist. We have got to design our lives, because if we don't, we are relying on the status quo, the default of what we were told. That's the people who kind of wake up when they're 65 collecting the 401k and like, I missed everything. I missed it. So I took the path of turning down promotions in favor of less work, taking those paychecks, investing them in real estate systematically for 25 years. But at the same time, because I worked for the same company 25 years, but at the same time, I was still traveling. I went to 100 countries over 350 times. I became a street cop on the side. I owned clubs on the side. I tried to open coffee shops. The best thing I ever did, though, was travel, because I got exposed to culture and languages across the world. You have to proactively go after your life and not just rely on this status quo default thing that we do. But I don't blame people, because all that formal education and the familial upbringing of the stuff that we are told to do and what's going to make us successful, and you have to have this and you have to drive this car. It takes a lot to unlearn that, a lot. But I just figured it out in my early mid-20s that I didn't want to live that way.
Yeah, you're right. It does take a lot to unlearn it, and unfortunately for many of us, and I can tell you for yours truly, it sometimes takes an event. I mean, sometimes
Absolutely.
it takes something to kind of to jar you awake to say, oh my gosh, everything that I thought I was supposed to do, everything I've been taught is actually where the greater risk is, which kind of really flips everything on its head, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it is a great risk.
yeah, I mean, and so yeah, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
want to let me on the risk thing. This is important for people, okay? Because this ties to, I'll try and tie things back to real estate because we are talking about that, okay?
Mhm.
A salary, the purpose of you going to college, one purpose is to get the salary with that degree. Then the purpose of you getting that salary is to use it systematically to go create an income outside of your work. Because if you create an income outside of your work, then you'll never be dependent upon that salary. And what people have done is they rely on this one salary, and their whole life can be jarred by a layoff, an event in industry, or something. Now, imagine if college told us, or high school told us, when you get your degree, go get your salary. And when you get your salary, for the first 10 years, systematically apply that to creating income streams. And then you can work whatever you want. I'm not even
Yeah.
saying leave your job. I stayed at the same company for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's where real estate came in, brother.
Mm.
I chose the asset of real estate because of the cash flow, because I knew I could live off the cash flow without having to physically be somewhere. But people can do it with dividend stocks, people can do it with businesses, etc. But from a lifestyle design perspective, that one thing is so key. Get your degree, get your salary, create your income. Now you have life options, do whatever you want. That's
Yeah.
how it should be. And real estate's a great tool for that.
It is, and that is the formula, man. There's a word that you mentioned in there that I want to highlight, and you said
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
That to me is everything, and it's what it affords you. You found out early on, you knew that you wanted options, and
Yeah.
you saw here's exactly how I'm going to go after that. And I think that's also kind of the message here is, you just laid out the formula, and the goal is how can I best afford myself? And if you have a family, how can I afford myself and my family the option to have, to go travel where we want when we want,
Yeah.
because you're right. You just for people who, if for the especially the audience, watching this,
Yeah.
um, if you have a full time, just imagine where you'll be when you can make the option, the decision to
Yeah.
continue or not, and so that's really what you're talking about right now. Um, and that's
Well, and
everything.
the reason why that statement is so important, I'm glad you said that. The reason why that statement is so important is for the following. So I coach people in lifestyle design. Real estate can
Hmm.
be a part of it, but here's the thing, and I give Tim Ferriss credit for teaching me through his 4 Hour Workweek book when I picked it up in 2010. People don't necessarily want to be millionaires and billionaires. That is not what they want. People want the experiences that they think millionaires and billionaires. Now, here's a mistake that what we were taught to make in high school and college, but I taught myself to not do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, um, we go to work, we blindly climb the corporate ladder, and many times it's just to have the acknowledgement of and the external validation of I'm an exec VP, I'm a partner, I'm this, I'm that. Okay. So what people are doing, they're giving major chunks of their lives away for another entity's mission, okay,
Mhm.
in favor of climbing that ladder because they think they're going to get all this money, which they can then go apply that money to do stuff, to have those experiences. Where I totally flipped it, and I teach people to flip it. It's not that we need a ton of money and time. It's that we need a little bit of money and a ton of time to live the way that we want to live. So life options comes down to having a little bit of passive income, relative passive income to cover your basic needs, and a lot of time.
Yeah.
We don't need 20 million. What we need is 7 grand a month or 6
Mhm.
grand a month or 5 grand a month. And some of the people that I coach from a lifestyle design perspective, once they create their streams of income or just go get virtual income, But I'll tell you why virtual is not going to last forever. Once they get that stream of income to cover their basic needs, then they learn the skill of travel hacking or starting a business or being happy with their kids at home. And they're living the lifestyle that they think a millionaire or billionaire might live. But here's why virtual income won't last very long. Because at some point, whoever you work for is going to tell you, we don't need you to work for us anymore, or you're not going to want to do that anymore. So putting assets on your chessboard that will perpetually create income for you, 60-year-old you needs that, right? So 25-year-old me was thinking about 48-year-old me a long time ago, because when I got off the career highway at age 46, I had 2,000 pieces of revenue coming in from different assets.
Wow.
We just need the experiences that we think millionaires and billionaires have, brother. I'm okay financially, but the reason why I'm living the way that I'm living is because I had a few $1,000s coming in well and above my basic expenses, and I had time. So I did life my way. When people thought, oh, of course you do. You have a lot of money. No, I have a little bit of money and a lot of time. It's different.
And yeah, that's incredible. And a plan, right? I mean, you designed, you took the action of design. Because I think you're right. What's interesting is the conventional path that says, hey, go get a salary so that you can push, help someone else achieve their mission. What's inherent to that is also, hey, and don't worry, eventually you'll be able to do some of the things that you want to do now. Really, you want to do them now, but just sit tight for about 20, 30 years. And
you cannot do that. And the reason why you cannot do that is because the way you experience life at age 32 is very different from the way you experience life at age 59. The way that I'm experiencing life right now at age 48, I'm not waiting until I'm 72 to do the things that I'm doing. There's no way.
Yeah.
I'm in DC today. 2 days ago, I was in Jordan. 3 days before that, I was in Lebanon. A little bit before that, I was in Germany. And this was all for personal and some business reasons, okay?
Wow.
I love it. I'm not waiting until I get my 401k at age 65 to go live life. That's insane. But the way you can do that, get a few pieces of real estate, systematically apply your paychecks. Maybe you buy, this is what I did on my single family journey. Maybe you buy 5 pieces of real estate. 2 of them appreciate. You take the appreciation from the 2, you send it down to the 3, you pay off some of it, and then you apply your paycheck systematically, and you find yourself with 3 paid off pieces of property 4 years later, 5 years later, generating $5,000. Move to Thailand. Move to coastal Alabama. Well, Maurice, it's not enough money. I live in New York City. Yeah, but you choosing to live in New York City, right? Lifestyle design is all choices, man. But I swear by it. I love it because we're not intended to be drones on this planet. And real estate plays a wonderful role in it if you apply it the right way.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And look, that connected with me. So anyone in the audience, if you heard that, put travel in the chat, right? Because if you're like me, you want to spend as much time as where you want to, when you want to, for however long you want to. Put travel in the chat. I just think that's something that Maurice is so important, so pivotal. You've been able to design your lifestyle, and I wanted to kind of get like a quick kind of nugget from you here. What do you say to somebody who feels that they feel helpless, right? So this sounds, they're listening to this and they're thinking, well, that sounds good, but right, but this, but that. What do you say to someone to kind of help them to realize that, hey, you can do this?
Yeah. When people say that, they are allowing their previous programming to dominate their words. You go to trylifeon.com if you want, go to the newsletter, and I write all these newsletters about mindset and all that type of stuff. And there's a principles newsletter. I authored 24 principles about trying life on. And the first one is that status quo is a default language. You just gave that person who says that just gave the default answer. Where they could apply another principle is like change the prefix of your sentence from if only to what if. What if I can be a police officer and full-time executive at the same time for 15 years? What if? Now, you can't do that. Says who? Why are we allowing external voices, parent or peers, neighbors, coworkers, friends, even dictate what we do? Because we're afraid of people's opinions, right? So it's not prohibitions by people on the external, it's inhibitions that are coming from inside, because that's how we were programmed. I live unapologetically. I really don't care what people think about my life. I could care less about it, because you are the only person who's going to be with you for your entire life. It ain't your spouse. It ain't your kids. It is your God or whoever you believe in, but you as a human, it's all you got.
Mm-hmm.
You better do the things that you want to do. Now, if you are struggling to figure out, how do I create geographic freedom? How do I create financial freedom? That's where conferences like this come in. That's where mentors come in. That's where lifestyle design and wealth coaches come in. Yeah, but they cost a lot of money. Well, do you want that life or not?
Yep.
What is the alternative? You want to go back to what Professor Johnson told you at school is going to make you happy, or you want to do what you want to make you happy? On that last point, there's another principle I use called stop worrying about the what and find a who. We worry about the what too much. I'm not the best real estate investor. I'm not the best restaurant owner. I wasn't the best street cop. Actually, no, I was pretty good at being a street cop. But what I'm really good at is finding a who. But I do develop in the Mediterranean because my partner is from Cyprus and I do work with him over there now. We're on our third project. I do real estate, multifamily, and have done 220 million of multifamily in the last 3 years because I have 4 partners who are ridiculous. They're better than me. I do client relations because I'm a good talker and I like helping people with their life structure. But Chad finds the properties. Kim's manages the assets and the property managers themselves. Tammy runs operations, and Erin, I need her because we have 700 investors. I can't do it all by myself. I found who's. So when someone tells me they cannot do something, I'm like, man, that's status quo, brother.
Wow. Listen. Yeah, I love that, and one more time too. What was that website that you just mentioned?
Try Life On. Try Life On. TryLifeOn.com. That's my coaching platform, and then I have the Try Life On podcast as well. I'm not the only person who thinks like this. I'm not the only ordinary person who has figured out how to do the extraordinary things that he wanted, but made them ordinary. There's tons of people. People are just quiet, but you can find them through the platform. So that's helpful.
Awesome. Okay, we'll make sure everyone has that. Both links, the links to the site, the podcast, some information on that. We'll share that as well. And you went into some things here that are important that we'll also talk about in the second conversation. Is the who do you need in order to kind of help you build out your infrastructure so that you can scale? So we'll kind of dig into that on the next session. But listen, just absolutely incredible information. And also you have an ebook, right? That's free for the audience. So can you tell us about that and maybe what they expect to learn from you in the book?
Yeah. So the ebook, I think you're talking about the ebook for Quattro Capital. If you go to the Quattro, so Quattro Capital is my private equity firm. The website is the Quattro Way, W-A-Y, thequattroway.com. The ebook is about the potential personas of people who might want to use multifamily as an investment. This is why I like talking to people so much. Real estate is not like, oh, it's the magic nail. It's the magic hammer. No, it's really not. But it's how you apply it to certain problems that you have in your life, whether it's college education, trying to exit the W-2, or trying to build net worth for the future. Great. The ebook is to give people an understanding of what syndication is, how it works, how we apply it, the fact that it's not right for everybody. Look, if you're going to get involved in a syndication with an operator like myself, then you need to know that myself, Kim, Chad, Tammy, and Erin, you need to know that, yes, you're investing in real estate, but you're actually investing in our ability to operate and manage that real estate, and not just the real estate, the investment itself. You got to get to know us, trust us. Who are these people? Right? That's what the ebook is about, is like breaking down the fallacy of like real estate's the magic bullet. No, it's not, but it's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful.
I love it. Yeah, it's a tool, right? And it's about how you use it. It's about who. I love that. So we'll make sure that that everyone has access to that as well. And kind of before we wrap, what's one step that someone can take, right, to go from kind of a worker who maybe they feel stuck a little bit to taking the first step to design their lifestyle?
Oh, that's an easy one. Write down your perfect day. Write down your perfect day in vivid detail. I'm not talking about a vision board. A vision board is good, but when you write your perfect day, like, where do you want to be? Where are you? Who are you with? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? How does it make you feel? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel weak? Are you by the Mediterranean Sea? What is the job you're doing? You're only making 3 calls to investors that day because that generates 300 grand and that's enough for the day so you can be with your kids and your wife and go out with your boy and have a glass of wine. No, you're going to have a bottle of wine because you love the relationship you guys have. What is your perfect day? When you write down your perfect day with so much emotion and you tie that emotion to your subconscious or whatever it is in your body that's giving you that feeling, you will start to break down the status quo so fast. Because what you're doing right now, by not even knowing what your own dream is, you are accepting society's version of a dream. My perfect day has nothing to do with money, nothing, but it uses money as a tool to execute it. So when you have your perfect day, and this is how I coach, when you have your perfect day, you can break that perfect day down into freedom-related goals. And every goal just has blockers. You want to be mobile, but you get 900 pieces of mail at the house? That was me. I can't be in Europe if I got 900 pieces of business mail sitting at the house that I got to go through. Well, how do you get rid of the blocker? Well, you digitize your mail. I don't get mail anywhere anymore. It all comes into an interface online. So whenever I need to pick up this laptop and this cell phone and go be on a wonderful interview like this, I can do it in Europe because if I want to look at my mail, I just go online. And that mail system has business rules that says if a check comes here, mail it there. I just got rid of a blocker. Goals have blockers. We co-create the actions to get rid of the blockers. If you get rid of the blockers, conceivably, you hit your goals. And if you hit your goals, then you have the framework by which you can live your perfect day. It ain't going to happen every day. There's real life that happens. But the fact that I was overseas 2 days ago and literally took a 1:45 a.m. flight from Jordan to Washington, D.C., landed at 6:20 a.m., got back to my house in time to be able to take my kid to school. I didn't miss a beat. I made my extraordinary ordinary. I literally will go to the Mideast or Europe and be right back to take them to school. But it starts with understanding your version of success. And the way that I do it is I get people to write down their perfect day because that's adults dreaming. Adults have forgotten how to dream.
Yep.
All we do is we accept everybody else's. And inevitably, one last thing, inevitably, whenever one of my coaching students writes down their perfect day, it's always a responsible day first. Always. I went to the grocery store. I did this. I'm like, brother, stop. Dream. You want to be a race car driver? Great. You want to be a pilot? Fantastic. You want to be a police officer with a take-home car? Yup. You want to act on TV? Yup. You got to write it down. So that's how I get people to kind of move and create their definition of success, because then they start forgetting everybody else's.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. So Maurice, listen, how can people get in touch with you, reach out to you, maybe hear more about you?
Well, so I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. It's just Maurice Philogene. I'm active on Instagram as well, where I'm just kind of showing life because I am all over the planet all the time and all that stuff. Try Life On is my coaching platform and my podcast. So you can just go to trylifeon.com. I'm very proud of Quattro Capital, which we'll talk about in the next thing, but Quattro Capital, thequattroway.com, and then my email addresses are maurice@trylifeon.com relative to lifestyle design and those things, and then maurice@thequattroway.com relative to real estate.
All right, perfect, brother. Listen, we're going to make sure everyone has all of the links and everything that they need to reach out to you. And just like you kind of teased there, you know, you all have achieved some incredible things at Quattro Capital, things that you can't achieve without infrastructure, without planning. And so we're going to dig into that into the next session here is kind of the who. You talked about that earlier, having the right who in place. So we'll talk about that in the second part of this discussion. And for the audience, you know, don't forget that you can watch the recording of this and part 2 in the Provester community. Again, thank you so much, Maurice, for sharing these nuggets. And so we'll dig into this a little bit more in the second part.
My pleasure. Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast, and thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful and helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. Drop a review, put some stars on it, give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. And until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.